Welcome, College Hoops fans, to the 2K Sports Season Preview Show. We're glad to have you along for what's sure to be another outstanding season of college hoops action. I'm Greg Gumbel, and with me at the anchor desk, my partner Clark Kellogg. We're ready to give you a look ahead to all the ups and downs of the upcoming season, so let's get the ball rolling with the best teams in the nation in the very first Top 25 poll of the season. Here are the Big Five, the top teams in the country as we begin the season. The Aggies of Texas A&M come in as the #1 ranked team, followed by Ohio State, Oregon, Washington, and Michigan State. So, Clark, what's your initial impression of our top 5 teams?
Sometimes the top players in the nation and the best teams in the nation aren't necessarily together at the top of the poll. But going into this season, we have some of the absolute best players playing on the marquee teams. That's really exciting to me, Greg.
Texas A&M is in the catbird seat to start the season, sitting pretty in the #1 spot. They bring back 4 starters, and that should pay huge dividends for them this year.
I can't tell you what an advantage that is for them. There's so much turnover in the college game these days that having 4 starters coming back is almost unfair, Greg.
Ohio State is in the #2 spot. They've got a whole crew of high school Mr. Basketballs on this team.
A team is usually happy to land one Mr. Basketball. But with the number they have, this could be a golden era of basketball success at this university. There's nothing but good times ahead.
Washington. Here's the next group of teams in our preseason top 25. What's your impression of that set of teams?
With such a long...
The Kentucky Wild, the Mark. How about this list?
This looks to me like the deepest preseason top 25 poll we've seen in years. I think there are teams even all...
The Pittsburgh Panthers. There was no shortage of movement in the coaching ranks during the offseason. Here are all the new coaches in college basketball this season. There are quite a few interesting names on the list. Coach Tillett. We've come to the part of the show when we look at the top players in the nation and unveil the list of our preseason All-Americans. There before you are the 5 first-team All-Americans as we begin the season, and what a list it is. The Iowa State Cyclones are pinning their hopes squarely on this young man's shoulders, Clark.
Spong is the first player on the list for good reason. Feels like this guy's been playing college basketball forever. This will be his 4th year as a starter. But I still don't take him for granted, and I think this will be his best season of all of them.
As for our next first-teamer, Michigan State is more than willing to go into battle with him, Clark.
Jeffers is simply a spectacular player. He can make things happen on the basketball court thanks to his unique ability to read and understand defenses, while most players are just trying to come up with their next move. He's 3 steps ahead of the game, and that's what separates the good players from the great.
Next up is a player that's drawing comparisons to some of the all-time college greats. The Horned Frogs of TCU are fortunate to have him in their corner.
Duffy is one of my favorite players in the country. It's extremely rare to see a true freshman on this list, but he has the kind of all-around talent that comes along once in a generation. I just hope he realizes his full potential.
Let's move on to a player who's worked very hard to earn his spot on the list. And finally, we have a... Now let's move on to the second-team All-Americans. Not such a bad list, huh? The Miami Hurricanes, the next player on the team, is a sense we can all look forward to some very exciting highlights from this young man this year. The Ohio State Buckeyes are looking for a lot of production from him, and they probably won't be disappointed.
Huffman is an extremely powerful weapon for his team. He's a former high school Mr. Basketball he was Wisconsin's Mr. Basketball in high school. He's a hero in his home.
Our next All-American made, and here we have, all right, Clark, that should do it for us here in the Welcome to the 2K Sports Studios. I'm Greg Gumbel, along with my partner Clark Kellogg. Coming up on College Hoops Tonight, brought to you by State Farm, the #1 auto insurer. We'll recap the biggest games of the week, as well as give you a preview of some of the huge matchups coming up around the nation in the next few days. But we begin with a special player who was an easy choice as our player of the week in college basketball.
Lasine set the bar pretty high for what kind of performance it's going to take to win the Player of the Week award. He started the season with a bang.
He was playing like a house on fire this week, Clark. The performance he gave made me believe there might be a few more Player of the Week awards for him in the very near future. It looked like he was enjoying the pressure of carrying his team, so the increased expectations should be no problem for him to handle. There was no shortage of excitement on the court in the past few days, so let's take a look at our games of the week. Let's get started with what turned into an absolutely terrific matchup. TCU got the better of Cal.
This was a fabulous game from start to finish, and we had momentum swings back and forth. I'm telling you, this one was a lot of fun to watch. TCU played some absolutely stifling defense. They made the guys on the other side work for every basket, and you can see that reflected in the shooting percentage. They never let up on the defensive end. That really took the pressure off the offense and allowed them to dictate the tempo of the game. To me, that was the biggest factor.
Although this next contest seemed predictable enough, one of the best teams in the country suffered a severe shock to the system. Providence toppled Texas A&M.
No one could have predicted this outcome, Greg. Texas A&M is going to lose their spot at the top of the poll for sure after this loss. Fisher had the hot hand on the winning side. His 20 points led all scorers. He was splashing threes from all over the place, Greg. In transition, in the half-court set, it didn't matter. He was letting them fly and watching them drop.
Now let's take a look ahead to the games that get top billing on the schedule in the days to come. This will be a fantastic battle. This is shaping up to be a prototypical style versus style matchup. Great scorers on one side of the court, great defenders on the other. This is going to be a real showdown.
Virginia Tech should come out on top if I had to make a prediction. Their backcourt is so solid this year, and their guards love to get out and run. That gives them a huge advantage in a game that should be as fast-paced as this one will be.
And we have another upcoming contest that promises to be a classic. Anytime a pair of top 5 teams squares off, it has the potential for major ramifications when the tournament committee gets together to discuss potential #1 seeds come March.
Ohio State plays a brand of defense that should make the difference in this game. They are a tough team to score against. And if you don't squeeze the orange, they'll take it. I think they'll be in top form for this contest.
That'll do it for us here in the studio. For my partner, Clark Kellogg, I'm Greg Gumbel. Thanks for watching College Hoops Tonight, brought to you by State Farm, the #1 auto insurer. Enjoy the exciting week of college hoops action to come. Welcome to the 2K Sports Studios. I'm Greg Gumbel, along with my partner Clark Kellogg. Coming up on College Hoops Tonight, brought to you by State Farm, the #1 auto insurer. We'll unveil our choices for the top 10 mid-major teams in the NCAA, as well as tell you where the top recruit in the nation is headed. But first, let's take a look at the best games of the past week in college basketball. We had a pair of top 25 teams in an old-fashioned grudge match. Kansas beat Michigan.
The score might not have been close, but I don't think that's an indicator of how similar these teams are talent-wise. It was just a matter of one side having an off night at the worst possible time. Harsin was the hero of this one with a terrific performance. His 18 points led all scorers. Watching him basically put his teammates on his back and single-handedly carry them to the victory in a big game situation like this was stupendous.
And what a game we had as two top 10 teams squared off. Ohio State got the better of LaSalle.
The LaSalle Explorers let the game get away from them, and it didn't turn out to be as much of a contest as we had hoped. It began as a battle between top 10 teams, but it became pretty one-sided. Ohio State did a tremendous job in the rebounding department. It was truly a dominant performance on the glass. They showed great hustle and determination every time a shot went up on either end. That's always an area that can really be an indicator of a team's performance, and the rebounding numbers told the tale in this one.
Now let's unveil our list of the top 10 mid-major teams in college hoops. These teams could probably hold their own in any of the power conferences if they had the chance.
Top to bottom, they're certainly not as strong as a list of the top 10 major conference teams, but one or two of them have just as much talent as any of those teams, especially the team in the top spot.
William & Mary has a schedule that rivals that of any of the top power teams. The strength of their opponents has been just outstanding, and that's going to be a huge factor in their ability to survive in March. In playing one of the most difficult schedules in the nation, they've gotten a lot tougher along the way. There's news off the court as well as on at this time of the year, as the top high school players in the country are signing their letters of intent. The signing of one player made an especially big splash. The Washington Huskies have to be considered the big winners in the recruiting wars this week. They brought in a young man whose talent is undeniable.
Grady is the type of player that coaches dream about. Everyone on that campus was buzzing about this signing.
He's something of a legend out west where he grew up.
He's going to be a very important player for this program, Greg. Not only was he a tremendous player in high school, but he was a tremendous winner as well, and he'll bring that mentality with him. When you find a player that has the ability to score and defend as well as he can, with a bulldog attitude to boot, you have a major building block.
That's our show, everyone. For all of us here at the 2K Sports Studios, thank you for watching. We'll see you next week on College Hoops Tonight, brought to you by State Farm, the #1 Welcome, everyone. I'm Greg Gumbel here with my partner, Clark Kellogg. Just ahead on College Hoops Tonight, brought to you by State Farm, the #1 auto insurer. We'll recap the biggest games of the week, as well as tell you where the top recruit in the nation is headed. But we begin with a special player who was an easy choice as our player of the week in college basketball.
Williams is a favorite to win this award every week, Greg, and he gets it this week. If there is anyone who doesn't consider him one of the best players in the country, just take a look at his last few performances.
It was a magical week for him, Clark, no doubt about it. The fans really got behind him as the points kept piling up, and you could see him feed off their energy. He's a cult hero to those people now, and if he has a few more weeks like this one, he'll be one of the all-time legends at that university. There was no shortage of excitement on the court in the past few days, so let's take a look at our games of the week. We have a real surprise to show you. Not too many folks expected the result that came from this one. Duke beat Ohio State.
This came right out of the blue, Greg. What a wild and crazy game. Ohio State is going to lose their spot at the top of the poll for sure after this loss. Bogan was absolutely unstoppable. His 23 points led all scorers. They needed an effort like that to get this win. He saw all sorts of defensive looks, but no matter what they threw at him, he handled it and handled it well.
And next up, let's look back on another great contest from the past week. Bradley defeated Michigan State.
Well, Greg, this game wasn't decided until that final buzzer sounded. A couple of different bounces one way or the other, and this could have been a totally different outcome. Bradley was going into this game looking to build some momentum, and I think they did it, Greg. This win really impressed me just in the way the players carried themselves. They look to me like a team that could really get into a groove and start doing some serious damage to their opponents.
There's news off the court as well as on at this time of the year, as the top high school players in the country are signing their letters of intent.